Welcome back. Today's career video, I want to take a look at Stephane Richer. Now, I'm not aware of anybody asking for a Stephane Richer video, but Stephane Richer is an interesting pick, to me anyways, because high draft pick, relatively, right? What would be a first rounder now, late first rounder, second rounder back in the 80s. 84, he was the number 29 pick, but he played the first year after he was picked in the draft. Now, it was only one game, but he still played. And other than Guy Lafleur, this is the only player who's ever had multiple 50-goal seasons as a Montreal Canadien. Others have had one. Pierre LaRouche standing out as one. But Richer has had more than one. He had two. And only Guy Lafleur has also had more than one. So, 84-85, he plays the one game. Regular season, getting his feet wet, all that stuff. 85-86, he dives in. 65 games, 21 goals, 16 assists, 37 points. Stephane Richer had one of the best shots in the National Hockey League. And his slapper, he didn't have to wind up a lot, and yet he could still hit 100 miles an hour with seemingly just ease. Like, if we had had the kind of talent competitions then on All-Star Weekend that we have now, if it had been as highly regarded and as discussed, Richer would have got a lot more attention. In the playoffs, 16 games, just 4 goals and an assist. But in his rookie year, he gets a Stanley Cup ring as a member of the Montreal Canadiens. That's not bad. But again, for Montreal, it had been 7 years since their last Stanley Cup, which at the time was an eternity. 86-87, he only plays 57 games. He gets 20 goals, 19 assists, 39 points. In the playoffs, 5 games played, 3 goals, 2 assists for 5 points. 87-88, this is where he really blows up. 72 games, 50 goals, which was 6th in the NHL that year, so that's his first 50-goal season. 28 assists and 78 points. In the playoffs, 8 games played, 7 goals, 5 assists, 12 points. He had 11 game-winning goals that year, which led the NHL. It was the one time that he led the NHL in game-winning goals. And he was the youngest 50-goal scorer in the history of the Montreal Canadiens at age 21. So, at age 21, he's a star. He's a 50-goal scorer. And that's where the pressure comes in. And what he didn't talk about until much, much later, towards the end of his career actually, was he dealt with depression. And I know that may be hard for some to, really get a hold of, because you're like, hey, he's a star in the hockey league. How could he be battling depression? It doesn't really matter your standing. If you have battled with depression, in some cases, the more success you get, the more scared you are of having failures follow you. So 88-89, plays 68 games, 25 goals, so his goals drop in half, 35 assists, 60 points. But in the playoffs, they get to the Stanley Cup final, 21 games, 6 goals, 5 assists. April 8th, he had the overtime winner against Hartford for the team to go up 3-0 in that series. That was at 5:01 of overtime. 89-90, 75 games played. He gets to 51 goals that year. And that's 7th in the NHL, 40 assists for 91 points. Absolutely fantastic. In the playoffs, 9 games played, 7 goals, 3 assists, 10 points. This is also the only year that Stephane Richer is in the All-Star game. So, in his first 5 years, he has 2 50-goal seasons. He's in the All-Star game. He has a Stanley Cup ring. Everything looks great for Stephane Richer. He is a megastar. 90-91, 75 games played, 31 goals, 30 assists, 61 points. In the playoffs, 13 games, 9 goals, 5 assists, 14 points. So, while his goals in the regular season drop, in the postseason, he is still a key goal scorer, right? 91-92, he's now in New Jersey. How does that happen? Well, September 20th of 1991, he's traded with Tom Chorsky in exchange for Rolly Melanson and Kirk Muller. Kirk Muller would be a key player for the Montreal Canadiens in their 93 Cup run. For Richer, a change of scenery likely means a lot less pressure for him. 74 games that first season with New Jersey, 29 goals, 35 assists, 64 points. In the playoffs, he plays 7 games, 1 goal, 2 assists, 3 points. So, 92-93, 78 games, 38 goals. So now the goal scoring is right back up, not into 40 goal, but close to 40 goal range. 35 assists, 73 points. So right about a point per game. In the playoffs, 5 games played, 2 goals, 2 assists, 4 points. So to this stage, New Jersey's not getting that playoff success that Richer would have been used to in Montreal, but it's coming. 93-94, 80 games, 36 goals, 36 assists, 72 points. Very, very consistent during his time in New Jersey. In the playoffs, 20 games played, 7 goals, 5 assists, 12 points. He had 2 overtime winners that year. May 7th of May 7th of 94. He had an overtime winner to tie the series at 2 with the Boston Bruins at 14-19. His last overtime winner in Montreal in 91 was on April 19th. That tied up the series at 1 against Boston. That was at 27 seconds. So, 2 overtime goals in a row against the Bruins. May 15th, so 8 days later, he had the overtime winner in the first game against the New York Rangers at 35 minutes and 23 seconds. So it was in double overtime. And that 94 series was a barn burner between New Jersey and the Rangers. And of course, famously, that's the series where Mark Messier guaranteed the wins. 94-95, lockout shortened season, 45 games, 23 goals, 16 assists, 39 points. In the playoffs, revenge is the Devils. 19 games, 6 goals, 15 assists, 21 points, and a Stanley Cup ring. So that's the second Stanley Cup ring for Stephane Richer. 95-96, his last year in New Jersey, 73 games, 20 goals, 12 assists, 32 points. The remarkable thing with Richer was when the wheels fell off that year, it just felt like it just all fell apart. So he ends up being traded back to Montreal. August 22nd of 1996, he's traded by the Devils for Lyle Odeline. So Odeline, good defensive defenseman, traded to New Jersey. Richer's back in Montreal. Back into the fire, right? 63 games that following season. 22 goals, 24 assists, 46 points. He plays 5 playoff games. No points there. Montreal is having problems. They won the Stanley Cup in 93. They're desperately trying to get back. 97-98, he only plays 14 games. 5 goals, 4 assists, 9 points. So not bad, but he's traded. So January 15th of 1998, massive trade with the Tampa Bay Lightning. He's traded with Darcy Tucker and David Wilkie for Patrick Poulin, Igor Ulanov, and Mick Vukota. So quite the change up there. Richer does pretty well in Tampa that first year. 26 games after the trade, 9 goals, 11 assists, 20 points. So he only plays 40 games that year, but his points total, 29. It's not too bad. 98-99, 64 games played for Tampa, and the goals are gone at this point. 12 goals, 21 assists, 33 points. 99-2000, he plays 20 games for Tampa, 7 goals, 5 assists, 12 points, and now they trade him to St. Louis. He is traded for Chris McAlpine and Rich Perrant, and in St. Louis, 36 games played, 8 goals, 17 assists, 25 points. So 37 points, 15 goals that year. In the playoffs for St. Louis, 3 games and he plays 1 goal. 2000-2001 is baffling. It's not on the board because he didn't play. He signs with the Washington Capitals on August 25th of 2000. Doesn't play a game. So in getting ready for this video, for like half an hour, I've been looking. I've looked through books. I've looked at why didn't he play? So I have it right here on the board. Why didn't he play in 2000-2001? I've mentioned he battled depression. Maybe there was something with that. Maybe he retired, decided I'm just going to retire. Right? So it would not be outside of the realm of possibility for a guy to sign a contract, go to training camp and go, you know what? I'm not feeling it. I'm just going to retire. Either way, before the 01-02 season, on October 2nd of 2001, so looking through the annuals, he's not even in the annuals for the 2001-2002 because he's a free agent, didn't play a game the year before, and he's not listed anywhere. So, yeah, sometimes the books don't always help, and all the internet is just meh. So, Stephane, if you see this, email me, let me know what's going on. So 58 games played with Pittsburgh after he signs there. 13 goals, 12 assists, 25 points, which again, after a whole year off, kudos to him for coming back. He was then traded for a 2003 7th-round pick on March 19th. So a deadline pickup by New Jersey. Plays 10 games, 1 goal, 2 assists, 3 points. In the playoffs, he plays 3 games, and no points are scored. But he finishes his career in New Jersey. So he plays in Montreal twice, New Jersey twice, Tampa Bay, good portion there, and kind of that cup of coffee, as you might want to call it, for both St. Louis and for Pittsburgh. And for Washington, I don't know, 1,054 games in total, 421 goals, which is 83rd on the all-time list, 398 assists, 819 points. In the playoffs, 134 games, 53 goals, 45 assists, 98 points. After his retirement, he was very vocal about having battled through depression in his career and how much that affected him throughout a lot of his career. And again, having money doesn't necessarily mean you won't still be battling depression. And so kudos to him for being willing to come out and talk about that during the late 2000s and into the 2010s. And not too shabby of a career to have, 1,054 games played and 421 goals during that, many of those via slap shots. So again, he didn't even have to wind up that much, and 100 miles an hour. Just absolutely ridiculous slap shot that Stephane Richer had. But there you go. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.